This is Doug Gerlach from iClub Central. Thank you for joining us tonight for our second webinar. This week we're focusing on StockCentral.com. StockCentral, as you probably are aware, is our subscription website that offers community, tools, data, insight for investors, for long-term investors who want to use the same philosophy that we use in our Investors Toolkit and other software programs, but we're bringing these tools to a web-based environment and adding some additional features. As you can see, I've already logged in here at StockCentral.com, and I'll run through some of the various features of the site. Across the top is the navigation toolbars that we have that offer you home, community, data, tools, learning. And beneath them in the red bar are the various sub-tabs that are available for other additional features. Tonight I'm going to run through how we envision that investors will use the site and analyze, research, and discuss potential stock ideas. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over and click on the tools icon, which takes us to our primary tools that we have on the website. These include the ratio analyzer, the research links, the stock screener, and an online version of our Take Stock tool. I'm going to start with the stock screener. The stock screener is designed to be a long-term investing tool. It doesn't contain any technical indicators whatsoever. It's pretty unique among all the stock screeners that are available on the internet. These the screening criteria that are here are the ones that investors and use the stock selection guide can use to find stocks that are appropriate candidates for investment. One of the interesting components of the screener is that you really don't need to know a lot of numbers. We've taken the numbers out, so you don't have to type in individual criteria. What you can do instead is select from the selector boxes the criteria that you would like to see. At the top, we have the industry selections, and there are about 130 or 140 different industry groups that are used on the StockCentral website. Our data comes from Morningstar. So it's high-quality data. We make some additional calculations to help make sure that the earnings have been normalized properly. The Morningstar analysts do review the earnings before they're published on the site. They wait for the companies to their 10K and 10Q filings with the SEC, then take those numbers, analyze those financial statements, remove the non-continuing items, and then result in earnings figures that reflect the core growth or the internal growth of the company. So it is high-quality data. So the screener makes use of this data set. It's updated every weekend. So right now we're looking at data as of last Friday. The simplest screen that you can create is simply just choose one industry group. So we can scroll through the list of industry groups and select one. Here's scientific and technical industries. I'll select that at random. Scroll down, click the Find Stocks button, and we're immediately presented with a list of 119 companies that are in the scientific and technical instruments industry group, and this list is complete. Now, another nice tip here that you can do, if we go back to the screening criteria, we can add some additional criteria even if we're not interested in eliminating companies from our list, but we could for instance, come down and select the historical sales growth minimum be 0, and the same for the historical earnings growth. Set the minimum to be 0, and if we click the Find Stocks button again, now we have the 5-year sales and earnings growth rates displayed on the list, and we've actually eliminated some of the companies at this point because they have no growth or negative growth. If we click on a column header anywhere in the screening results, we'll see the companies that have the highest growth rates, in this instance, be listed first. You can add more criteria in that fashion and display the results. And this is a great way to get a handle on the competitors for a stock that you might be studying, or if you're looking at adding additional diversification. If you hold down the Control key in the scroll box up here, you can actually choose several different companies. So for instance, if you were studying semiconductors, you could select 5 different semiconductor-related industries and click the Find Stocks button. And now we're seeing all of those different industries, not just a single semiconductor industry. So in this way, you can compare similar industries, include them in your search as well. Now I'll go back to the screener again. I'll reset my criteria, and we'll take a look at how we might go about using the screener to find a stock to study in today's environment. And one of the unique things you'll find in this stock screener that you won't find anywhere else is down here, the Take Stock Quality Rating. It's in the quality section, and the Take Stock Quality Rating is based on the quality index that's calculated by our Take Stock software program. And so for every company, we calculate the quality rating on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being the highest. And but you don't even have to know those numbers, because the screener allows you to select your minimum criteria, say acceptable, and that simple single criteria there, only finding stocks that have a quality rating of acceptable or better, is the same criteria that we use in determining the complete roster of quality companies that we publish each month. So this screen is in effect the complete roster, only on a weekly basis instead of a monthly basis. So these are that meet the quality of roster companies criteria, and we can sort them by the Take Stock Quality Rating, or we can sort them inversely and start at the bottom of the list if you wanted to see some of the companies that were at the bottom of the acceptable range of quality, which is about 3.9 or better. That's what we consider acceptable quality in the Take Stock Quality Index. So if we start with these companies now, we have a list of quality companies, but the issue is that many of these companies may be overvalued, and now we'll add in some additional criteria, for instance, that might offer some valuation metrics to our quality companies. So we have a list of 130 companies. Let's whittle that down a little bit more, and maybe one of the ways we could do that is to look at companies that have a PE ratio in a particular range. That could be one way. We can look at the relative value. Let's say the relative value is between 85% and 105%. These are companies, you know what, let's lower that a little bit lower. Let's make it 80%. This would indicate that the current PE ratio of these companies is between 80 and 105% of their 5-year average PE ratio. And actually, we actually eliminate some outliers in this. So this is comparable to the historical value ratio in the Take Stock program. But the idea is that these are stocks that are on the undervalued side of their historical range. I bet we'll find a lot of those companies like that at this point. In this case, we're down to 33 companies now that have the Take Stock Quality Rating that we're looking for, but also have relative value that would indicate that they might be reasonably priced in the current environment. Now, the relative value figures, if they fall much below 65 or 70%, that indicates generally that there's something wrong with the company, fundamentally, why investors are discounting the price so greatly, so it becomes less of an indicator. So we can continue to add criteria, or if there are things that are important to you, such as the insider ownership and institutional ownership, you can add those in, and we can build a screen and look for companies. I'll be doing another webinar next month on the screener in particular, and we'll delve more deeply into all the various features and criteria that are used there. We see the button here that allows you to download the Excel report. If we click on this button, we can download the list of all the companies that we've discovered in our screen, and they're going to open in Excel. And you'll get a little error message when you open these files. We do a little cheat in order to preserve the highlighting and the pagination. So we deliver some HTML in the Excel file. It's actually you'll get an error message that Excel says this doesn't look like a real Excel file, and that's the reason for it, that it's perfectly harmless. This we can save on our computer, and as I mentioned before, you can add additional criteria, so you could actually build out a spreadsheet and model it however you wanted to. And that feature is there to let you get access to some of the data and some of the results as you're going through it. Back to the screener now on StockCentral. I'm going to sort again by the Take Stock Quality Rating. As you see over here on the right side of the table, we have the Take Stock link, a report link, and an SSG data file link that you can download. And these are available to help you with the next step of your analysis. So let's say we found some candidates using the screening tool that we want to consider a little bit further. So now let's go ahead and we'll just click on the report link. And I'm going to look at Amedisys, a home healthcare industry company. The quality rating is 8.9. I'll go ahead and click on the report link, and it takes us to the data tab on the site, and here we have a full company report on this company. At the top there are company info. It tells you the sector, the industry, the SIC code, the size of the company, the beta, the fiscal year information, the report date. On the right side we have key ratios provided. And then we move down, we look at the capital structure, which will show us the long-term debt to equity ratio and the total debt to equity ratio. We see interest coverage, insider ownership, some of the cash flow and balance sheet items here, showing us accounts receivable for the current and the year ago, and the percentage change. Then we scroll down to the quarterly financial history for the most recent quarters. And then we see the annual data for 10 years displayed in this table down here. And then finally, we have the growth rates for these items for sales, pre-tax profit, etc., over the last 10 to 1 year. So we can see how the company may have been changing. If the company, here's a company that doesn't have a longer-term history, so it's a smaller business. And then down below we have the quality considerations, pre-tax profit, return on equity, and the PE ratios down below. At the top we have additional links here on StockCentral to get SSG data, and this will download a data file to your computer. We have the discussion forum where you can discuss this particular stock. We have the Take Stock link, and that's to our Take Stock tool on the site. We have the Ratio Analyzer, which is also another of our tools. And finally, research links to help you do more research. So we'll just start with the Get SSG data. If you click on the link, the site will deliver to your computer an SSG data file. And that will open in your chosen stock selection guide software. And this is Toolkit 6. The first impression screen. So we'll go ahead and accept the first impression, and here's the data file. Now, of course, if you have Toolkit, Investors Toolkit 5, Toolkit 6, or Stock Analyst, you can open the company directly from your program. You don't have to load it from the website. If you have Classic Plus, you can download that SSG file from the website. That SSG file on StockCentral doesn't have any judgment in it. It's purely the data, the historical data for the company. So as we look at the company here, we can see the growth of sales and pre-tax profit and earnings right here in our software. So I'm going to go ahead and return now to StockCentral. We have another webinar coming up in a couple of weeks that will talk about the interaction between Toolkit 6 and StockCentral and how these tools work together. But the SSG data files, again, delivering the Morningstar data using normalized income, and these are updated each weekend, so as of last Friday. The next link here is the discussion forum link. And as we click on the discussion forum, we'll go right to the forum for this particular company. And you can see there's a couple of messages here and a couple of discussions underway about this particular company. The purpose of the community message boards is to allow us to share our stock studies with other investors. In this case, we have a discussion going on, and we have a data file that another investor has uploaded to the forum. I click on it, and now I'm looking not at my SSG file, but at another investor's stock study with judgment completed on the front and the back. So this is the results of another investor's stock study. And so from here we can have a discussion about the selected growth rates, about the selected PE ratios, and hopefully everyone's understanding of this company and what it does can be enhanced by that discussion. I'm going to come back to the message boards a little bit later, and we'll discuss the features that are available there. Let's go back to the data report and the links that are here, and we'll take a look now at the Take Stock tool. So if we click on the Take Stock tool right here from the data report, it takes us to Take Stock here on Stock Central, and it shows us the results for this particular company directly. Here we have the quality index that's highlighted. 8.9 indicates this is an excellent company. The mood indicator indicates that the company is hot. Investors may be paying more than usual. And here's the buy price. And at the current price of $51, Take Stock views the company to be higher than the buy price that it set of $35.78. If we want to know more about these factors, all we have to do is click on the link. So now we have the quality index, tells us more about the growth of the company. We'll click to display the growth index. And here we have recent growth and the predictability, historical growth, all analyzed, showing us that this is a very consistent company. It's growing at better than a rate that we would expect for a company of this size, and is very stable and predictable, which are good signs. Those contribute to the growth index and also to the quality index. The efficiency indicator shows us the analysis that the program has done on the company's profit margins and return on equity. And in these cases, both are good. Profit margins are good, and the return on equity is also doing well. The buy price, we can take a look at why it thinks the company is somewhat overvalued at this price. Because we can't get from $51, the current price, to the potential high price of $90 is a little less than doubling, and the potential low price a little too low at $17.64. We can drill down even further from here. At any point, you can click on the Concepts button on the left side at the bottom of the toolbar, and it explains how these values are reached, what's the concepts behind them, and in this case it says click on the TSSW form back link in the left-hand navigation and review the rewards section. If you're confused about why the results are the way they are, all the documentation is here, and there's also a user guide that's available on the site that displays all of the help for the program, how to use the program, what do we mean by return at the buy price, here are the concepts here. On the left we can also, the first sets of links here, the quality, growth, and efficiency, these are the where we've just been by clicking on the site, on the buttons on the site. The TSSW is the Technomental Stock Study Worksheet, and this is a two-page form that gives you all of the data and calculations that the program is using to make its determination. So you can review this form and you can understand how Take Stock is reaching its conclusion. Again, there's lots of help available for how to use, how to interpret these figures. Why did Take Stock choose a particular growth rate for its forecast? Those items are here. Showing you the results of the forecast. I'll click on Form Back, and now we look at some of the valuation figures and the reward and risk calculations. In this case, Take Stock is indicating this company may be a little overvalued. We can continue to find other companies by returning to our screen and reviewing the companies to find more companies that are closer to the buy range at the current price. Many people complain that Take Stock is too strict because they type in all their favorite companies, and Take Stock tells them that those stocks may not be quality businesses. Take Stock is rather unforgiving and doesn't make allowances. It has no emotion. It's a software tool, so it strictly uses its own logic to determine whether a company is a reasonable investment or not, and will err on the side of caution every time. We'll go back now to the data report once again, and now we'll move to the next feature, the ratio analyzer. The ratio analyzer is based on the tool that Bob Adams from the Puget Sound chapter, and who served on the Computer Group Advisory Board for Better Investing for many years, developed. A version of this form, this tool, was incorporated in Stock Analyst version 3, and we've upgraded the ratio analyzer tool now and brought it to StockCentral. The advantage here on StockCentral is that we have access to all the data that's needed for the ratio analyzer. When you use with Stock Analyst, not all the required data is delivered in the stock selection guide data files, so you have to manually enter data. Now all the data is accessible online, so the ratio analyzer tool provides you with the data and the analysis of the advanced Wall Street ratios that investors often consider. They're divided into various categories such as liquidity ratios, efficiency ratios, cash flow ratios, profitability ratios, and asset and inventory ratios. And everything is color-coded on a red, green, yellow system to give you a sort of an instant view. When you take in the whole picture of the form, you can determine quite quickly if there are lots of greens, then that's a good sign. If there are lots of red and yellows, maybe there's more items that you need to consider. And then finally, besides the actual value of the calculation that the tool makes, there's a plain English description that cautions you or points out the advantages that a company might possess. As you move your mouse over various parts of the program, you get additional information in a pop-up window that provides the definition and some ranges for the different tools. Now, the ratio analyzer doesn't work for all industries. It's based on manufacturing industries most commonly, but many of the ratios can be used for different types of businesses. So this is for our Emeticis. Our working capital ratio is the first. That's defined as total current assets divided by total current liabilities. It's also known as the current ratio. It's less than 2, and the ratio analyzer says that may be in the caution zone. The long-term debt ratio is quite high and increasing in the long-term debt. The long-term debt to equity ratio may be excessive at 68%. And the total interest coverage is good, though, and the quick ratio is slightly less than 1, which is in the warning zone. We can continue to go through for this company and look at the different values. Often these are the types of additional considerations that can make or break your decision to buy or sell a particular stock that you may own. Often we find companies that look good from a growth and value perspective, but on the quality side, many times we'll see the indicators on the ratio analyzer pointing out significant changes that are eventually going to fall down to the bottom line and that we need to be aware of. So this is a more advanced tool, but if you've ever read any how to invest books, these are the types of ratios that you're always going to find, and now here's a good place for you to get access to those values. We'll go back now to our data report, where we've got our master set of links here. And finally, in your research process, you may want to explore further other websites that are available. So the research links are provided for the company. And these are a hand-selected list of the best financial websites, links for particular companies. For instance, here's Manifest Investing, which you may be familiar with. We can open that. It'll take us right to the Manifest Investing website, and it takes us not to the home page, though, but to the analysis page where it talks about the ticker, the growth rate, projected PE, quality, and the PAR using the manifest approach. Likewise, as we scroll down, we have earnings estimates from Reuters, for instance, so we can let's click and open the Reuters earnings estimates. And we're taken to the Reuters website, to the earnings estimates page that provides us with the recent quarters and future fiscal years, the sales and earnings estimates that analysts are making compared to actuals, etc. And we can continue to drill down and find more information on any of these sites. So this is meant to be a quick research tool. Just the best of what's available. It's not a comprehensive list. It's just the best of what's available on the internet when you want to research particular companies a little bit further. In your toolkit, you can link directly to this page so that when you're looking at a stock study, you can go to this page and then jump off to the various categories and types of sites that you need to look at. That's a summary of the research tools that are available, the data and the tools that are available on the StockCentral website. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be adding some additional industry and sector research that will allow you to start with a sector and drill down and view key ratios for any industry group, and those will be updated each week along with the rest of our data. So I'm excited about that. We'll be releasing that quite soon. We're testing it right now. And then we have an online version of Toolkit in development as well that hopefully will be available later this year. So now let's go back over to the community, and I'll show you some tips and tricks for using the message boards on the site. Across the top in the red bar, you'll see the active topics list. That's not a forum. That's just a list of the most active, recently active topics on the message boards. Then we also have Central Square, which is our various rooms to talk about tools and investment clubs, the investing area where we talk about clubs, the software that we make, etc., and then our individual stock forums where the discussions of the stocks that we track, and it could be any stock, but these are the stocks that users of Toolkit and StockCentral will be most interested in. Here in the investing forum at the top, you can see the subforums. We have the classroom, the clubhouse, the join the club column with Amy Rausch-Nielsen. It's proven to be very popular for investment clubs learning to operate better. The tool shed is where we can discuss all of the software that we make if people have questions, and there's an InvestEd forum. And then down in Central Square, we have our Town Crier, where we have announcements and our newsletters and other information about the website and our tools. The Village Green for anything that doesn't relate to investing. The suggestion box if you have them, and then the infirmary if you have specific problems. You can post a message there and we'll get back to you. So let's go ahead and take a look at the clubhouse, and we'll see the messages here. Now, at the top of the topic, you'll see we have the community, and then we have another little gray bar where you can view the unanswered, the not read, and these are messages that you haven't read, messages that are unanswered by anyone, and then your forums, and you can select your forums as well as view the active forums or all forums. Now, as we move down again, you see a little link here that says, email me when someone posts to this forum. If you check this box, now anytime anyone posts a message in the clubhouse, you're going to get a copy of it in your email inbox. And even better, you can actually respond to that message, and it will be posted on the Stock Central website. So if you come to the website and pick out your favorite topics, your favorite forums, and check this box, it will automatically from that point on send the mail to your email address. So you don't have to come through the website and search on it. As you move across the top again, we see the My Profile link. If we click on the My Profile link, you'll see your profile and you can edit this information. And we also have the Subscriptions link right here in the middle. And the subscriptions link, this is where you display and you can delete the message threads that you're tracking and the forums that you're tracking. So in this case, there's a message thread, IS investment comments. Anyone who responds to that message, I'll get a copy of it, and then down below some of the various forums, and if anyone posts any message in that forum or responds to any message in that forum, I'll get a copy of it in my email inbox. And that's accessible here where it says My Profile, then click on Subscriptions. So that's a useful tip, and many of the most frequent posters on the site are using that instead of coming to the site every day and seeing what's available. Here's a message thread on deceased members. And in this case, because this is a message thread, we've got a link that says, email me when someone replies to this thread. So I've already subscribed to the Clubhouse messages, so I don't need to check on this to get replies to this thread. I'm going to see them anyway. But it just gives you control over the types of messages that you want to see in your inbox. We can move through the message threads just by clicking on previous topic, next topic as we go through. And as we scroll through the messages, you'll see to respond, you can either click on the Add Reply button down here in the bottom. That allows you to add a reply, or you can click on the Quote button up at the top over here, or you can click on the Reply button here. And finally, there's the Alert function, and the Alert function is where if you think there's a problem with a message, you can let the forum administrators know. The Quote feature and or the Reply feature, the Quote feature just brings part of the topic of the message into your reply. So that you can then you can respond to it. And the Reply feature just allows you to post a reply directly to that message. You can type in the text. This is the text of the message. And then down below, we can attach files. You can subscribe to a message, submit, preview, or cancel. So our options are here to finally to submit your message and have it posted on the message board. And again, there's no question too silly to ask on the message boards. There we have a lot of great people and volunteers and staff who monitor the boards. It can be a great way to get answers to questions about club operations, running clubs, as well as the stock research functions that we hope will continue to grow as people use the forum. When I come to the forum, typically I'll click on the community section and then I'll click on the messages that are not read. And that provides us with a quick list of stocks to consider, studies that people are talking about, topics of interest. So here is a stock study for General Electric, investing in tough times, backing up Toolkit 6, etc. So that's the quick and easy way to come to the site and see what's going on. The active topics also shows you what are the messages that people are responding to most recently. And you can choose the date here, so we can say if you hadn't been to the site in a couple of weeks, you could say show me the active topics from the last 2 weeks. So here now we can scroll down this list, and you can see all the forums and all the topics and all the discussions that have been going on since you last visited. And so we click and we can view the first of those, and we click, and now we're just going through the list. We're not going through the particular forum. We're going through the list as people are going around discussing the items on the site. I will point out in our classroom we have the after hours book forum as well. Every month, Cheryl Sosterich from Minnesota takes on a week-long discussion group about particular books, and those are happen here in the After Hours Book Forum. So you can feel free to drop down and hear all the books that have been discussed in the past, so you can review those as well. Let's jump over now to the Learning tab. The Learning tab has our primary learning tools, and Take Stock is really a great way for new investors to learn how to analyze stocks, because it does the work for them, but it provides the backup, the details, the analysis, the description, how the decision was made. So we consider that a big part of the Learning Center. But we also have the bookstore, which lists the books that are being discussed. We have my blog is here, where I post periodically about the market, what's going on with our tools. We have an events calendar, which includes the events and investor fairs around the country, where we'll be, where StockCentral will be, where I'll be presenting. And then we have the Learning Library, which has an assortment of documents. Here is a transcript of a presentation about Take Stock that Ellis Traub gave. Here's a file on closing your investment club's books. Here's a presentation on InvestEd, an investment club checklist, an audit checklist. There's a story on the website that Amy discussed in her Join the Club column. Here's the actual form that you can use to conduct your investment club's annual audit. And there are more presentations about REITs, presentations about screening and using our tools that are all here in the Learning Library. You can download those and share those files. And then finally, I'll show one more feature here on the site, the My Account feature at the top, up in the top right corner next to your name. And this shows all of the tools and software that you have subscribed to or own at iClub Central. So it shows that if you're a member of an investment club, it shows if you subscribe to Club Accounting 3 Maintenance and when the expiration date is for all of those items. All of the software registrations that we have for you in your account are also displayed here. So if you want to know when does something expire, here's where it is. If you lose your serial number, we'll have it here. Now, if you've got multiple accounts in our system, you'll have to call us. We can reconcile those. But you can also change your username, change your password, and update your information here on this My Account page. So this is another feature that you can access. And it's meant to be a useful, helpful feature. We get a lot of calls from people wanting to know when various services might expire. Here's a way that you can figure it out on your own by coming to the website. We also offer various discounts on software programs and other features. As StockCentral members, you get the best prices on many of the tools that we sell, such as Toolkit 6, a discount on InvestEd 2009. You'll save $10 by being a StockCentral member. The Investor Advisory Service also offers a discount. Club Accounting, Sure Software, other partners are offering discounts and promotions for StockCentral members. And our next promotion, it's actually now on the iClub.com website that we'll be announcing next week, is with Investment Account Manager. You can save on your purchase of Investment Account Manager by Quant9 Software if you're a StockCentral member, and actually we'll let you bundle a year of StockCentral member, so you can save $10 on the cost of save $10 on your StockCentral annual membership and get the software at a discount. So if you go to iClub.com and click on the products link, you can learn more about that new offer that's coming out we'll be announcing in the next couple of days. All right, now I'm going to take a couple of questions. If you have questions, you can type them into the question box, and I will try to answer those questions as best I can. Ed Pring asks, under the data tab, it shows insider ownership. Does it also show institutional ownership? And yes, we do provide insider and institutional ownership for all companies. So I'll go back now. I'll show you. Yeah, so here's Aflac. You'll see down here in the middle of the screen, we've got insider ownership and institutional ownership both displayed for you. Ken asks if the return on equity in the company report uses beginning of year book value. I believe that the company report is using the end of year book value in the return on equity calculations. Pat asks if everything in your membership has been presented tonight. Yes. You can download the StockCentral data into your toolkit program without going to the site. So that's an additional feature. If you're a StockCentral member and you're using Toolkit 6, you have access to two features. Besides the data files, you have access to the complete roster of quality, which is downloaded automatically into your Toolkit 6 software and displayed as a separate portfolio, and that's updated each week. And then the other item in Toolkit 6 is the first impression screen that uses the quality index, so it's only available to StockCentral members. Joe asks, will the institutional ownership and insider ownership be automatically downloaded into the Toolkit software? Yes, it is. Institutional ownership and insider ownership are displayed on the front page of the stock study if you use the StockCentral data feed in Toolkit 5 or Toolkit 6. Jim says that in covering Take Stock, I didn't mention the summary, and he found it to be of great value. Yes, absolutely. I am remiss in not taking a look at that. Let's do that right now. I'll take a look at this company, American Oriental Bioengineering, in Take Stock, and over here on the left we have a link that says summary, and this is a fabulous, fabulous tool. It gives you the reasons to buy and items to check for a company. At the very least, I think this is a great page to print out and take to any club meeting where a stock is being considered. Even if you know nothing about investing, if you just look at these items and discuss these items, I think they would be it would make you sound like the smartest investor in your club. So the summary is a great tool. Thanks for pointing that out. Well, I thank you all for coming. If you have more questions, feel free to stop by the StockCentral community message boards and ask your questions there. I appreciate your interest and support of the StockCentral website. I look forward to increasing the number of tools that we have available. I understand we're all sensitive to what's going on in the market now, and that now more than ever many clubs are struggling. There's a lot of confusion in the market. We'd like to help provide a suite of tools that uses common sense approach, that focuses on quality, and that will help investors to build stock portfolios that will thrive in the future. I do believe that right now it's a great time to start investing. Emotionally, a lot of people are balking at the prospect of getting into the stock market, but we're at valuations that we haven't seen in quite some time. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I hope that StockCentral is part of the tools that you're using. So thanks again, and have a good night.